And without further ado, let's get into the first topic. So y'all already know how hard I've been windmilling for Sinners. It is like, in my opinion, one of my favorite movies of 2025 so far. And I know we still got a lot more to go. Like, I'm looking forward to Thunderbolts when that comes out. I do want to see Accountant 2. I do want to see Until Dawn, but I've been hearing mixed reviews about that film, so I'll probably just wait till that comes out on streaming. I definitely want to see Mission Impossible. I don't know if I said that already, but if I did, I'm repeating myself and I apologize. It was like, I want to see Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning. I want to see Superman. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing I Know What You Did Last Summer. So there's a lot of movies that I already know I'm going to be in the theater a lot. It's almost making me want to get the A list because I want to see, there's so many movies I want to see. And you get like a really good deal with the A listing over at AMC, but I'm still kind of on the fence with that. But in the meantime, I don't mind paying like the regular ticket price and going to see the movies that I want to see. So Sinners, I've already seen it twice. Y'all already know that I'm just absolutely in love with this film because not only, everybody just wants to focus on the vampire thing or whatever the case is, but this movie is so nuanced and multi-layered. And I just love the fact of seeing a movie that celebrates Black culture and talks about our pain and how we are not a victim of our pain and we're not looking around trying to be like we're just woe is me and that sort of thing. It's like how we turn pain into resilience and that sort of thing. So I love that this is overall a celebration in a way, even though it is coiffed in horror elements. So I love that. But apparently, with the success of Sinners and this current deal that, and I'll get into it in a second, what the deal is with Ryan Coogler and Warner Brothers, where in what year are we in? 2025, in 2050, so that's like 25 years from now, he will be able to gain back the rights to this film. And this is like his only deal that he has with them because, this movie, he says, meant a lot to him. It's deeply personal. And you can definitely feel like how personal it is when you watch the film. So yeah, in 2050, he secures the rights. And this is not the first time that this deal has been made, but they're saying that this is spooking Hollywood because they think, well, if y'all give this to Ryan Coogler, then anybody's going to want to, own their intellectual property, which I'm guessing is like, I don't understand how this is foreign to a lot of people. That, yeah, if I come up with an original concept, if I write the script, if I'm directing it, if I even get a deal where I could do Final Cut, which I heard that that's exactly what he got out of this, why can't I own my intellectual property? And that's what's been happening a little too long, not only in the film industry, but in the music industry as well. How many artists you already know out here that be out here touring and why y'all be mad at them because they charge y'all $900 for a damn ticket, like a lot of y'all are doing currently with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry going through it right now with her ticket sale, but that's because she's just impossible to deal with. So I don't even know if that could possibly be just the music, but just her, she's just irritating. She's just a walking irritation, I should say. And there's so many other artists who, yeah, they have to charge so much money because you don't realize they're having to rent out these venues. A lot of this is coming out of their pocket before they can even see a dime. Or they can even, accumulate or recoup, I should say, that money. So yeah, it's not just, and that's all due to Spotify getting all the money. And like we do these subscriptions, how these upper 1% or whatever, they get a big piece of the pie. And these artists around here just getting crumbs. It's the same thing with the filmmakers. Like, why do actors, why do we have to, like, if we're the artists who are creating the thing, why can't I own my intellectual property? So I love the fact that Ryan Coogler was able to secure this deal, and yeah, people are pissed off about it. So shout out to MSNBC for this story. So this says, with his critically acclaimed hit Sinners, writer director Ryan Coogler cemented himself as transformational filmmaker. Sinners, a gleefully genre-bending, soulful vampire spectacle, signifies on the American and Southern legacy of white supremacy at a moment when teaching the uncomfortable history of race in America is being outlawed. Ain't that the damn truth? Especially with all this foolishness, who is currently trying to push forth, even arresting judges for smacking down his whatever the things that he's trying to push for. I'm like, what is happening in this country right now? It's disgusting. So auteurs, and we can safely identify Coogler as such, often do this. And yeah, I refer to him as an auteur when I went, once I saw this movie. And I was like, he's up there in the same conversation as a Steven Spielberg, as a Denis Villeneuve, as a Christopher Nolan. Like Ryan Coogler needs to be put in that same conversation with these directors, with the Martin Scorsese, those type of directors. Like he is that dude. Like every movie that he's putting out so far. Because all the other ones they've had their hits and misses, but so far, I don't remember. I think Ryan Coogler's done 5 movies so far. All of them have been pretty good. I know some people have their trepidations about Wakanda Forever. I understood why, with some of the decisions that he made in regards of why he didn't recast T'Challa. So I'm with that, and I understand it because unless you are someone who's black and of the culture, you truly understand why they decided to be like, T'Challa passed away. We're gonna honor that, and we wanna honor and do, because that's what we do as people. We don't sit up in there. We don't have the fortunate ability to just be like, how like a lot of you white people get to do. Oh no, it's just a character. Let's just bring somebody else in. So like easily you could easily change out a Batman because they've done that already. Where they had George Clooney play Batman once, or you had somebody that played a James Bond once, or things of that nature. Y'all can switch out to people like that. But when it's rare that people of color get their just due on the big screen, we aren't afforded the same. Oh, you could just swap them out. They would have been pissed off about it. So we're not held to the same standard of that. And if white folks who get on their little soapboxes with their shows or whatever can't understand that, then I don't know if it's a racial blind spot or you just trying to look at everything as sort of from a a movie or a cinematic standpoint, I should say. But it's like, no, it's unfortunately, we people of color, we have to always think in 3-dimensional ways. We can't just simplify stuff and just streamline things when it comes to a conversation. Everything with us has to be multi-layered. It has to be 3-dimensional, and we have to hit all the sides. So if people can't understand that, then it's like, that's a you problem. It's not a me problem. So what they're saying is that, yeah, that Coogler's horror film reportedly has some Hollywood executives afraid. So Coogler requested and received a rare stake in his studio-produced film, securing the Warner Brothers' first dollar gross points, final cut, and ownership of the film in 25 years. Now, an unnamed senior Hollywood executive told Vulture that some other executives are freaking out over Coogler's deal and that it's very dangerous precedent that could be the end of the studio system. Well, now they're saying that, look, here's the thing. Now, y'all can pump your brakes with this because, look, Coogler's one film deal is rare, especially for an African American director, but it neither exists in a vacuum nor marks the fall of Hollywood studio system. Notably, Coogler has explained that he sought ownership for this specific project because it is inspired by his family history in Mississippi and has an extra personal significance for him. So, and then LeVar Burton went and posted something on Twitter, so I'll read his tweet. He said, y'all, Sinners is an extraordinary accomplishment by all parties involved, both in front and behind the camera. At Michael B. For Jordan feasts, as does the rest of the cast. However, make no mistake, this is Ryan Coogler's triumph. Next level storytelling, get thee to a movie theater. Well, I have twice, and I might go see it again. Now, they say, though he doesn't expect to seek the same for future projects, Coogler clearly understands a fundamental truth. Long-term cultural ownership is a powerful legacy. The film itself touches on the commodification and theft of Black music and culture. The most important aspect of Coogler's deal is ownership, reverting back to him after 25 years. And that's what people need to understand. When you're looking at this movie that we're talking about called Sinners, what is the film truly about? A lot of people get so caught, well, it's not enough vampires. Oh, it's like From Dusk Till Dawn. And I'm like, first of all, when y'all trying to compare like the Latino experience, like first of all, those were Aztec vampires, they were not Latino vampires. So big difference. Indigenous people, which a lot of you Latinos don't even like to include yourselves as, unless, Mexicans I would see as indigenous to a degree, but when we're talking about Aztec, that's like something different. But when it comes down to the whole situation, it's like, yes, this movie is truly about the ownership of intellectual property. When you see the scene in the film where Remick goes and comes across Sammy, I want your songs, I want your thoughts. Like, this is someone who, and we have to also look at it from the point of view of like an Irishman. Irish people were considered dirty. Irish people were colonized by the British. It's like, look at your history and how they assimilated with once they started getting into places like working in law enforcement and things of that nature, that's when they started to assimilate to be part of the system where they even started oppressing other people. Same thing with the Chinese. The Chinese, there were a huge Chinese market that existed down south that a lot of people do not know about. It wasn't just about white people owning slaves. Asian people lived in the south as well, especially because they were a big part of, they were big, well, how do I phrase this? There were a lot of Asian Christians, I guess I could say that, because you look at the scene when you see Grace, the Asian woman that worked at the shop that, Smoking Stack recruited to come help them with the juke joint. She wears a cross around her neck. That's a symbol of, yes, she is Christian. So the symbolism, the nuances, like the first time when I watched the movie, I just watched the movie and took it all in. The second time, I already saw the movie, so it allowed me to sit there and really absorb everything that I missed and take even more of the mythology and the history of our culture and a lot of what has happened in our history in this film, because they trying to get rid of all these books, they trying to get rid of so many things, and it's like when you watch the movie, it's like you see all this history on the screen. I would not be, well, no, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna put no energy about that orange asshole in the White House into the universe and on this movie, so I'm gonna just hold on and swallow it, swallowed. We gonna swallow that and throw it away. Because I'm not gonna let him put his negative energy in my head and put that thought out in the universe. But anyway, so yeah, so it's like you have to. So when you look at it from those different points, it's like yes, it was about the history and the colonization of our. They want our music, but they don't want our struggle. They love the blues, but they don't want it from us. Hence why when you look at country music, where it originally started from, and how Beyonce got a little too comfortable. She thought, oh, I could just walk up in there and do country music, and they was going to accept me with open arms. But they've already colonized that genre of music because country is not something that Black people as a collective do. We're more or less about R&B, hip hop, all these other sounds. But rock music started by Black folks and then colonized by other artists. Elvis Presley, why do you think he gets all the attention? And then you look at Chuck Berry and Little Richard and you see like how their legacy's kind of been tainted. But those of us who know music and music history, we celebrate those artists. Same thing with rock and roll. Rock and roll was started by Black people. All those all wrote, all of them drums, I always say, lead to Africa. I've been saying that for eons. And I'm glad that we have Beyonce with Cowboy Carter trying to edutain, and you have Ryan Coogler edutaining with his movie. So yes, it's deeper than the vampire thing, but the vampire, in my opinion, is a metaphor for how this Irish man, who the first vampires he bites are too damn racist. And you see on the side of the thing when he looking in the house, the Klan's robe and the hood. So you go and get those people first, and then y'all go down to the juke joint to try to occupy all those Black folks. And then the metaphor of like when you see the scene where he's having his little Irish jig moment and all the different races that he's surrounded by that's dancing around that him as he's doing his jig, all the people that he's colonized who are trying to help him get in that juke joint, that place where they had it. Forget what they call it. It's like a slaughterhouse, whatever the case is. And he wants to get to Sammy because Sammy's voice, Sammy's music, Sammy's thoughts, how powerful he is. So people have to understand what the metaphors of the film is. And that's why I say it's much deeper. The vampire is just a metaphor for a bigger thing, which was literally about, like I've been saying, ownership, how our music, our culture has been robbed from us. And I'm glad that we have people like Ryan Coogler who remind us of this. And we'll see more of this from other artists. Like we need more Ryan Cooglers in the world. And I love the fact that, you know what, we need more people to celebrate the Ryan Cooglers. And I don't want to be shady in this way, but we need less of the ninja nonsense. I'm tired of the same old bottom of the barrel, let's go to the lowest common denominator programming that you get from, the gangster culture, the Tyler Perry's, the 50 Cent, all that type of stuff. There's more to our culture than what they're giving us. And I love the fact that we have someone where, upon first look, you would look at a Ryan Coogler that he's a hood booger. But then when you get beyond the exterior, you realize this intelligent man We need to protect him at all costs, is what I'm saying. Because the intellect on that man, like, it cannot be bought. And it's just the fact that he's in a position where he's telling our stories in a way and has complete creative control over it. And the fact of, yes, when y'all go to the movies and y'all spend y'all money to go see this film and it's successful, Hollywood can't say nothing because money talks at the end of the day. So they can sit up in here and try to act or whatever. And you've seen them reviews that they've been doing from the critics where they was trying to downplay the film's success, which we know are microaggressions. But money talks at the end of the day. So he can come to the table and be like, when y'all trying to tell him he can't do this or he can't do that. But I'm like, look, you bring out your little book of receipts, bam, put it on the table, shut them old hating ass mother uncles up. Them old, hating ass crackers. Shut them up. Because what could they say? We went to the movies and we supported the thing. So, and then when I've heard someone say in my comments, when I was told about this, so, oh, I don't care about the box office and all this stuff. And this is on TikTok. I'm paraphrasing, but they was like, I don't care about the box office success. It's not that important. All I care about is whether a movie is good or not. And I'm like, yeah, but you not going to the movies to support this film, you not putting money and showing the box office, because this is what they measure things by. Now we're at a point where they're measuring things by opening weekend. Whatever happened to the days where we allow films to just find the audience and grow? They don't even do that no more. It's like things have to be number one out the gate. It's got to gross of $500 million in 3 days. Otherwise, it's a flop. And it's like, y'all have to give people a chance to find the audience. And I think that at first, Sinners was kind of like, I don't know if people was going to go see it. But when all those reviews and the cinema score and all that other stuff came out, that's when people were like, okay, I got to go see this film. And I think after that, when all the reviews and things started coming out, people were like, you know what? Now it's feeling a little Barbenheimer-ish, which means it's a case of FOMO. People didn't want to miss out on the movement. They want, oh, let's see what this movie's about. Everybody's talking about it. I don't want to be, left out in the dust while everybody's having these conversations and discourses and all this other stuff about this film. So I'll say all this to say, shout out to you, Ryan Coogler. There was another person, Chris Lee, said the following. He said Ryan Coogler's Warner Brothers deal to gain ownership of Sinners 25 years after release has Hollywood freaked out. It could be the end of the studio system. And here's the thing. To get to that point, I do not think this is the end of the studio system. I think that, y'all have made way too much money for far too long off of an old way of doing things that is kind of like losing steam. And I feel like that with the industry constantly changing, especially post-pandemic, where a lot of us don't consume movies the way that I did or we did when I grew up. When I was growing up, we had many opportunities. There was no pre-internet, all that stuff. We didn't have opportunities to watch movies the way you watch them now. There are people that want to sit at home and watch movies. Look, Ted Sarandos Ted Sarandos, who is the head of Netflix, when it came out, said something recently talking about, in so many ways that he loves cinema and everything, but it's all about, people don't consume those films the way they do anymore. Not everybody has the ability to walk to the theater. And I'm like, people got cars. It's like when I went to go see Sinners in Roosevelt Field, I took, drove there. When I went to go see Sinners the first time, which was at Lincoln Square, I went all the way from where I'm at. I got on public transportation. I took my behind out there. So there's ways to get to the theater. But of course, he's not going to go against what his moneymaker is, which is, yeah, I benefit from y'all staying at home and watching movies on Netflix. I don't make no money when it's in the theater. Well, he probably make a little coin, but for the most part, he benefits more from that model. So I don't think he's the right person to be asking. But for the most part, y'all got to come up with a new way to you got to, I guess, figure out how to reinvent the wheel, get with the times, and how to get people into theaters and find ways of doing that. Like, that's not my job. That's your job. Y'all working in cinema and all that other stuff. So y'all got to figure that out. But if y'all worrying about artists, y'all losing intellectual property to artists, how about y'all come up with deals where Artists can eat just as well as y'all can eat instead of y'all being greedy. You think just because y'all give the advance and y'all provide the platform and the studio, the production companies and all other stuff to help you make, to get these movies made and help these artists get these movies made, that they shouldn't be able to make money off of their own property. Like, that's crazy to me. So everybody should be able to eat at the end of the day. And I would just wish studios, whether you in the film industry or whether you in the music industry, stop being so damn greedy. And yeah, share with share the love and the wealth with the talent. Because look, they got to be able to survive. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to Ryan Coogler's Sinners deal with Warner Brothers, talking about that they got studios spooked and nervous, that they're worrying about that other directors are going to come forth and try to get the same deal. Like, I heard that Kevin Smith had that same issue with Dogma, where it was just like he couldn't even play the movie without Harvey Weinstein. I was like, who the man in prison? Harvey Weinstein, trying to get a percentage of it. Now I believe that he owns the complete rights to it. And he's not the only, Ryan Coogler's not the only director out here who has complete autonomy over certain films. There are other directors out here that have that same damn deal. So if y'all just mad because a black man asking for his piece of the damn pie and a big piece of it, then I don't know what you mad for. He deserves it, especially with all the money this movie's making. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below.